the mercy of strangers. The klaxons wailed as Dr. Elias Venn scrambled to secure his specimens. The meteor shower had struck without warning, battering Horizon 9's outer hull with a ferocity that made even the veteran xenobiologist flinch. "Status report," he shouted into his comm unit, struggling to hear over the station's automated warnings. "Minor breaches in sectors 7 through 9, came the strained voice of Technician Torres. "Pressure stabilizing. But, sir, there's something else. Our sensors detected a small craft caught in the shower. It crashed in the western ravine." Elias paused, his curiosity piqued. "Classification." A hesitation. "Unknown, sir, but the energy signature. It matches Xylorian technology." Elias felt his pulse quicken. The Xylorians, humanity's most enigmatic adversaries in the struggle for habitable worlds. Protocol was clear. Report, isolate, and wait for military response. "I'll investigate," he said, already reaching for his environmental suit. "Dr. Venn, command explicitly forbids." "I'm aware of protocol, Torres. Log that I'm conducting specimen collection in the western sector. Then out." The ravine was a jagged wound in Proxima IV's otherwise smooth terrain. Elias navigated the descent carefully, his spotlight cutting through the planet's perpetual twilight. The crashed vessel came into view, sleek, organic lines unlike the utilitarian aesthetics of human ships. And then he saw her. She lay half ejected from the craft, motionless beneath a section of hull. Her skin was a soft lavender hue, almost luminescent in the dim light. The exo-armor that encased her torso and limbs was cracked, revealing glimpses of flesh that seemed to merge with the technology. Protocol dictated he should call this in immediately. Instead, Elias approached, medical scanner in hand. "Can you understand me?" he asked, knowing the universal translators were spotty at best with Xylorian dialects. Her eyes fluttered open, iridescent violet irises focusing on him with startling clarity. "Human," she whispered, her voice melodious despite the translator's mechanical overlay. "Finish it then. Your victory." Elias shook his head. "I'm not a soldier. I'm a doctor. You're injured." Confusion crossed her features. "Mercy is not your way." "Maybe you don't know us as well as you think." Elias worked quickly to free her from the wreckage. "I'm Dr. Elias Venn. Can you tell me your name?" She hesitated. Then, "Lyra, Scout 3rd Echelon of the Xylorian Hegemony." "Well, Scout Lyra, you've got multiple fractures and that armor is fused to your epidermis in several places. I need to get you to my lab." "They will kill you for helping me," she warned as he carefully lifted her. Elias managed a wry smile. "Probably, but professional curiosity is my besetting sin. Besides, you're the first living Xylorian I've ever examined up close." "I am not a specimen," she hissed, though her voice lacked venom. "No," he agreed, beginning the arduous climb back up the ravine. As they reached the top, the distant lights of Horizon 9 gleamed like stars fallen to Earth. Elias knew he was crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Commander Darius would have him court-martialed if he discovered a Xylorian in the research wing. But as Lyra's breathing grew more labored against his shoulder, he found himself unable to care about consequences. Some boundaries, he decided, were meant to be broken. Boundaries crossed. The corridor outside the communications array was deserted, the station's personnel having retreated to battle stations or secure quarters. Elias worked frantically at the access panel while Lyra stood guard, her partially regenerated armor now fully extended in defensive configuration. "Hurry," she whispered. "The hegemony ships never negotiate once weapons are primed." The door slid open with a reluctant hiss. Inside, the communications array hummed with activity, automated distress signals and defensive communications bouncing across multiple channels. "I need 3 minutes," Elias said, inserting the data drive into the console. "Can you broadcast directly to your ship?" Lyra nodded, her fingers dancing across the alien interface with surprising compatibility. Xylorian communication protocols are designed to infiltrate enemy systems, an advantage in this case. Outside, the distant rumble of the station's defensive cannons engaging reverberated through the walls. "Channel open," Lyra announced, broadcasting on secure hegemony frequencies.
Elias took a deep breath and leaned toward the comm unit. "Attention Xylorian vessel. This is Dr. Elias Venn of Research Station Horizon 9. I am here with Scout Lyra of your third echelon. We have discovered evidence of third-party manipulation in the initial conflicts between our species." He nodded to Lyra, who spoke rapidly in her native tongue before switching to the translator. "This is Scout Lyra. Authentication code Theta 9 Vortex Prime. Hold your fire. The human speaks truth. We have been deceived for generations." The console before them flickered as data streamed outward: historical records, tactical assessments, and the contradictory accounts of first contact from both civilizations. "Station breach in Sector 12, came a frantic announcement over the station-wide comms. "Unknown entities boarding." Elias looked at Lyra, fear and determination mingling in his expression. "They're coming." "Not my people," she said with certainty. "The hegemony would never board with such imprecision." Before Elias could respond, the communications room door exploded inward. Through the smoke stepped three figures, neither human nor Xylorian. Their exoskeletons were chitinous, insectoid in design. "Vectrums," Lyra breathed, horror evident in her voice. "Prevent transmission," one of the creatures clicked in a roughly translated approximation of human speech. "Eliminate witnesses." Elias lunged for the console, desperately hitting the final command sequence to broadcast their discovery. A searing pain tore through his shoulder as one of the creatures fired. "Elias!" Lyra's cry was followed by a blur of motion as she launched herself at the attackers, her regenerated armor glowing with kinetic energy. The room dissolved into chaos. Flashes of weapons fire, the metallic clang of armor against chitin, guttural alien languages mixing with human shouts. Elias, clutching his wounded shoulder, managed to reach the emergency lockdown control. "Transmission complete," the console announced, as the blast shields descended, trapping them all inside. One of the Vectrans turned its compound eyes toward Elias. "Foolish. The deception has held for 70 years. Your small truth cannot undo decades of hatred." "Perhaps not," came a new voice from the shattered doorway. Commander Darius stood there, flanked by station security and, impossibly, two Xylorian warriors. "The Vectrans," Darius explained, looking between them, "have been playing our species against each other while they colonize disputed territories. Your broadcast reached both our command and the Xylorian ship." He nodded toward the Xylorian warriors. "They requested emergency boarding to assist with the common enemy." "Unprecedented," one of the Xylorian warriors commented, studying Lyra's protective stance over the injured human with evident confusion. Hours later, as the station medical bay treated wounded from both species, Elias found himself beside Lyra in a quiet corner. The immediate crisis had passed, replaced by the more complex challenge of unraveling decades of manufactured hostility. "What happens now?" he asked, his bandaged shoulder a dull ache. Lyra's armor had receded partially, revealing more of her purple skin. Investigations, accusations, denials, peace negotiations eventually. "And us?" The question escaped before he could reconsider. She looked at him, her violet eyes reflecting the same uncertainty he felt. "There is no precedent for this." Her fingers found his, warm and sure. "But perhaps that is what both our worlds need most. Someone to cross the boundaries we believed uncrossable." Outside the medical bay viewport, the Xylorian vessel held position alongside Horizon 9. Enemies no longer, not quite allies yet. In that liminal space between conflict and cooperation, something new had begun to grow. "I would remember you," Lyra whispered, leaning closer, "even if they tried to make me forget." As their foreheads touched, an intimate gesture in both their cultures, Elias realized that some connections transcended the divisions of species and space. In saving each other, perhaps they had taken the first step towards saving everyone. "Together," he promised, echoing their earlier pact. Her lips, surprisingly soft against his, formed the single word that now held the weight of worlds. Together. Around them, humans and Xylorians began the tentative work of dismantling a war built on lies, while something far more powerful, trust between former enemies, took root in its place.
Echoes of home.
The station's maintenance bay had been transformed. Discarded equipment formed makeshift barriers, and the lighting had been reprogrammed to create shadows where there should be none. In the center of this controlled chaos, Nira stood with her eyes closed, concentrating. "Remember, humans don't glow," Liam coached gently, especially not when feeling strong emotions. Nira nodded, focusing on suppressing her bioluminescence. After 5 days of intensive preparation, she had learned to dim her natural radiance to nearly nothing, though maintaining control during stress or intimate moments remained challenging. "And your speech patterns," Liam prompted. "I am Julia Chen," she recited, carefully flattening her melodic inflections. "Your research assistant, recently transferred." The cover story they had fabricated was thin, but might withstand casual scrutiny. Liam checked his datapad. 2 more days until Reyes arrives. We've made progress, but not enough, Nira finished for him, opening her eyes. The violet of her irises had been disguised with brown contact lenses, her purple skin concealed beneath specially formulated makeup. With her luminescence suppressed, she could almost pass for human, if no one looked too closely. That evening, they sat together in Liam's quarters, the most personal space on the station. Here, away from the clinical environment of the labs, he had created something resembling a home. Books, a small collection of earth plants, and photographs of landscapes Nira had never seen. "Mountains," Liam explained, showing her an image of towering peaks, and a place called Colorado. Nira studied the picture, then removed her resonance crystal and held it up beside the photo. "Like Azura," she said softly, "our crystal spires reached to the sky." With gentle movements, she activated the crystal, which emitted a complex harmony. The sound coalesced into a 3-dimensional projection, a city of crystalline towers that seemed to sing as they reached toward an amber sky. Liam watched, mesmerized. "It's beautiful." "Was beautiful," Nira corrected, letting the projection fade. "I am the last memory keeper now." She placed the crystal in Liam's palm, closing his fingers around it. "If something happens to me, this holds what remains of my world." "Nothing will happen to you," Liam insisted, but the promise rang hollow against the reality of their situation. Nira moved closer, resting her head against his shoulder. "When I found you," she said quietly, "I thought I had lost everything. But now," she looked up at him, her true eyes revealed without the contacts, shimmering violet, "now I fear losing something again." Liam cupped her face gently. "Not everything beautiful has to end," he whispered. Their kiss deepened beyond the cautious explorations of days prior. Nira's control slipped, her skin beginning to pulse with light that traced the contours of her body. Liam's hands followed the illuminated patterns, each touch intensifying their glow. "Sorry," she gasped, between kisses. "Cannot control." "Don't," Liam murmured against her neck. "Don't hide. Not with me." Clothes were discarded, barriers of fabric giving way to the discovery of each other. In the darkness of the quarters, Nira's natural luminescence painted their intertwined forms in shifting violet light, casting ethereal patterns across the walls as they moved together. 2 bodies from different worlds finding a harmony as ancient as the stars themselves. Afterwards, lying in each other's arms, Liam traced the now fading patterns on her shoulder. "We could leave," he suggested suddenly. "Take the emergency shuttle before Reyes arrives, head to the outer colonies where UNSC presence is minimal." Nira propped herself up, studying his face. "You would leave everything? Your work, your world?" "What work?" Liam laughed without humor. "Counting microbes on an uninhabited moon? This isn't living, it's existing." He touched her cheek. "You've shown me the difference." Before Nira could respond, the station's alarm blared, shattering their moment of peace. Liam jumped up, rushing to the communication panel. "Proximity alert," he read, face paling. "Vessel approaching. UNSC designation." He looked at Nira, eyes wide with fear. "It's Reyes. She's early."